All right, Coach, congratulations on pulling out the win there. So how do you feel now after getting the second match under your belt for the weekend?
Relieved after a dogfight like that. Relieved. I think we believed in our team the entire time, but we knew these dogfights were going to be happening frequently, and so we knew that they were going to cut down on errors. That it was going to be, pretty tight played match, and so just to come out on the top end of that, so happy for the team that they didn't give up and they stayed really locked in the moment.
These back-to-back games in the Pac-12 first, Big 12 first to do it against Cincy and now Oklahoma. What has it been like to kind of play this style, and what's kind of makes a challenge of that type of scheduling?
Well, fortunately, we have some seasoned players who played during the COVID season, and they've experienced that back-to-back night because that was the schedule that was, forced upon us. But plenty had not. And what I've really enjoyed, and I think our team has enjoyed, is that, the second day we can kind of absorb after the first night what our opponent did to us and tried to, get us out of our game, right? But we also can look at us, and we've really dove in and looked at what we could do better. Like, great, we came away victorious, but there were still opportunities that we missed, or lacks of discipline, or things that we didn't execute that was part of the game plan that we could get better at. So day two, a lot of times, is we think this is what they're going to do again, or they might make this adjustment, but at the end of the day, we need to be playing better volleyball. And so that's been, I think, something that we've all enjoyed, is the ability to kind of do even better against the same opponent.
How would you say then that your team played better volleyball tonight?
Well, they forced us into some more errors, but I would say we stayed very steady. We averaged 13 kills a set, a little bit low, but we stayed very steady that way. I think our passing stayed very solid. We only got aced, I think, 6 times, but we also were much more effective behind the service line tonight with 13 aces. So, and I think we stayed steady from a blocking standpoint. We had a little bit more of the errors. They had 12. They ended up with 12 blocks. I think there were some times that we didn't take necessarily great swings, but they're triple blocking almost everything. So, that's a tough thing to go against. And I thought we still came out swinging and relentless.
So what were you telling? Talk about what you were telling the team over the course of that third and fourth set, because Oklahoma was really keeping it close with you guys all the way through those.
Yeah, I think our both of our athletes just stated it, to stay fearless, to stay aggressive. You're not going to win being meek, and so really challenging those hands. They don't have to avoid a block like that. There were plenty of seams and plenty of high hands and tools to be had, and I think that they realized that. They stayed confident when they were going up to swing, even if it was 6 hands in their face, that there were plenty of opportunities to both utilize the block or get it past it, and some holes as a result.
Emily and Ava once again leading the way offensively in kills tonight. Emily also with the 16 digs leading the team as well. So seeing Emily defensively, what has been the biggest stride as far as that type of the game for you?
What do you mean?
As far as defensively, where has she made her biggest strides defensively?
Well, I think staying patient, realizing our block is trying to obviously be terminal, but at the same time, we keep reminding them, hey, we've got diggers back there. We have plenty of ball control behind and around the block. So I think it allows her to pretend that there's no block up and expect the ball and just take that attacker one-on-one. And really, that's really what we're trying to instill in every single one of our defenders is, hey, pretend it's you and the attacker and put yourself in a position to make a play off of that.
Once again, another big service aces game for you guys tonight with 13. You had one of the premier setters in program history up in the stands watching tonight. So, how big has was the service game for you tonight?
Oh, definitely instrumental. It's such a momentum builder, and it's such a deflator for another team, for the other team. So I was super pleased with our service game tonight, especially in some clutch moments. Yeah, we give a couple. That's a good coaching move to call a timeout and try to disrupt the flow, and I think they got us a couple times with some errors, but I thought we actually came out. Even Annika Sokol stepped up and got an ace herself, and I think everybody gave at different times from the service line, and we really disrupted their rhythm and their ability to get the ball to number 22 in particular.
Aside from fewer errors, what was the biggest difference between Oklahoma last night and tonight?
Well, we could see them when they were warming up. They were trying to get that ball, set that ball a little bit wider than they had in system to the pin. And we made sure that we made those adjustments. And if that ball was going to go all the way to the pin, that we were there and clamping on it. But they still work a lot out of system of bringing that attacker inside. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't chasing too much. And they were taking still some pretty big rips. I think they also incorporated a few... Last night they tried to throw off of our hands and abuse our block a little bit. This time they were trying to go over it, and we did a really good job of staying patient, and our off defense or our right back defense was staying on our feet and still playing that ball, and we were getting transition swings out of it.
What was it like to be in that kind of beaten back crowd environment tonight? Because 1,615 people were here in the venue tonight. That's the third highest of all time.
Love it.
What was it like for you?
Well, we felt it, and I think that I agree. I was not sure about challenging that one in-out serve for Emily Wilson, and the whole crowd stood up, and everybody was pointing in, so I pulled the challenge card. They were all into it. I felt like we just had, a room full of coaches, and eyes observing on our backs, ready to go, like, do this, coach, go for it, because we've got you. It was in. So it was a great environment. We love playing in the venue.
So I know it's not called the 12th man, but does it feel comparable to that kind of 12th man football feel in a way?
For sure, yeah.
So now you've completed a weekend against a brand new Big 12 opponent. What does this weekend tell you about what you will see from the rest of the new Big 12 opponents that you will have to face for the rest of the season?
Yeah, no easy games. And just because you get a team, and we knew it, I think our team was very prepared coming into today. Just because you swept a team, don't expect that to be the same team tomorrow. There are no easy days. And on the flip side, it could be the inverse of at some given time when we have an opportunity to play a team twice, and regardless of what happens on day one, you still have to put up your best fight on day two. And for some of those teams, we only get one crack at them, like the next 2 weeks. And so we've got to make sure that we have that sense of urgency right out of the gates again.
That kind of comes. So what do you want this team to take from this weekend as you now go up against Texas Tech in Lubbock?
Well, just that confidence is everything. We can't wait for to see what they're going to throw at us. We'll make adjustments, but so will they. And really, a lot of it has to do with how we're executing our game plan and just going up and making sure that we're aggressive in all facets of our game.
And who would you say then has shown the biggest strides over the course of this season that you think will really show up in conference play this time?
Oh gosh, pick a player. I think that's really tough to say because we've seen growth and I know our players, we talk about it all the time. That's not just lip service. They all feel like they have gotten better and improved, and we hear that continuously from outsiders as well. So it's really tough to point to one player, but if I can give any props tonight, we had to make an adjustment, and Brett Carlson came in the opposite, in the right side position, and Annika played back row for her, and super proud of both of them. And we just have that mentality of next night up. If we have, to make an adjustment, everybody's ready, and everybody's ready to come in, and we have complete confidence in them. And I think that's probably more what I can speak to. It doesn't answer your question because it's really too hard to say who's made the most strides. They've all, I wouldn't say equally, but they've all made strides.
Would you say that next night up mentality kind of works when you switch from offense to defense? Because Lauren Clark out there, she had quite the block to get to win you that second set, and then went and got the kill to end it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And she didn't obviously put up the most remarkable numbers, but she came up huge at some really key times. And you don't get points for a dig, right? But she made a huge dig off defensive play that turned into a transition kill for us. So those don't always show up in the stats, in points. But she was pretty critical at some key times for us and got some good momentum building kills for us too.
Three big double digit diggers for you tonight with of course Emily, Abby, and Chloe. But in the case of Abby, we talked a little earlier with her about learning under Amber. When you recruited her, what kind of reminds you of Amber in her, and what makes her like a special setter to where you trust her as a redshirt freshman to kind of take over quarterbacking this offense?
I honestly don't think she reminds me of Amber. I've had very different setters. Even Erin, her sister, was a very different type of setter than Amber. But I think, one of the things that they have to do as a setter is run the floor, command the floor. Some are very outgoing in doing so, some are very introverted in doing so, but they still have to get the job done. So I think Abby I knew that she could be a court general. I knew she could run the floor. She was one of those players that would keep everything pretty calm in her demeanor. And so I wouldn't compare them to say that she reminded me of her as much as she reminded me of a setter that could do the job.
All right, awesome. Well, best of luck in Lubbock, Coach.
Thank you.